Hello, 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 everyone.
Hello, you.
Back for another one, ready to get right into it. We're coming in fresh right after watching the third episode of Jersey Shore. This one's called Good Riddance, and we'll get into why that is the case here in a little bit. But first, let's do some check-ins, sis. How you doing? How's everything going?
Doing pretty good on this very chilly Dallas day.
So cold outside right now.
It was 75 degrees yesterday, and now all of a sudden we're getting snow flurries today.
Yeah, crazy. That's just kind of what you come to expect here in Texas this time of the year. You're just not going to know what's going to come your way.
Well, that's just Texas.
That's just Texas, y'all.
It's just Texas, y'all.
Other than the weather, how's things going?
Other than the weather, really good. I had myself a nice little spa day
Oh,
the other day.
Okay, really nice.
I
Yeah.
really needed it very badly.
Yeah.
Because of all this crazy weather change, my skin just feels like so dry. I feel like a raisin.
Oh, you're all dried out, huh?
I'm all dried out.
It's no good.
Awful. So I had a facial for the first time in years, and she was like, "Yeah, your skin is pretty fried." I'm like,
Okay, thanks. Appreciate it.
that. Yeah, recommends all these $100 bottles of creams and potions and whatnot. So
Hoodwinkery and
but
tomfoolery.
I have to say, I feel like my skin feels very good right now.
It's looking pretty good.
pretty hydrated.
You kind of get that little glow
Little
going
glow?
on.
Yeah,
you got a
good.
little glow going on.
That's what it's supposed to do.
It looks soft.
Yeah, supple,
It looks soft.
as it were.
Yeah.
So that's what's been going on with me.
Okay. I've been doing good in case you care to ask.
I don't.
Okay. I'm doing good, getting back into the swing of things. We were dealing with some COVID stuff a couple of weeks ago, and so this has been my first week really kind of back at work, getting back into the swing of things, getting back into the whole routine. So it's good. Very happy to be doing what we're doing. That being said, let's just get right into this episode because things really start kicking off, and now we're getting into what I love so much about Jersey Shore, which is the very specific kind of drama that they're getting into. So today's episode is called Good Riddance. It is episode 3. It aired on December 10th, 2009. Just to give you a little recap on the little episode summary for you. Goes like this. The love triangle gets even more intense when Ronnie catches Sammy giving her number to another guy. And a housemate chooses to leave the shore for good. On today's episode of Jersey Shore, sis, let's get right into it. What'd you think about the episode this week?
I really like this episode, and I think this episode, it really does a whole lot for the series, for the rest of this season at least, because it does so much to propel all of the storylines forward. And I wrote at some point in my notes, because I hadn't realized, I had kind of forgotten about this episode, but like how much happens in this episode. And I had completely forgotten. I was like, where has this episode been? Why did I like completely block this out?
Mm-hmm. I think it could be one of those things where it's kind of like getting into the formula of what Jersey Shore is, and maybe it's all kind of blending into one.
It's like a transitional episode where you're now, they're not strangers to us anymore. We kind of know who they are, but the plot lines are thickening. And it's like that transition period of like moving everything along.
Thickening is a good word to put it. Yeah, everything's starting to get a lot more intense as everyone starts getting more and more comfortable with each other in the house. Everyone starts kind of really settling into their personalities. The first kind of big thing that we open the show with is Jenny is just coming off of Polly.
Yes.
She is there. This must be like the morning after or something like that. All that kind of stuff happened, and what we are greeted with as the show opens is Jenny's boyfriend Tommy is coming down to the house, and she is gutted by everything that happened. She doesn't know what to do. She makes the comment several times, like, I don't know what. I need to figure out how to approach this.
Well, yeah, the episode opens in the morning, the day after they've been out clubbing. Jenny is claiming not to remember making out with Polly, so she's kind of asking the guys, what happened, even though you can see in her face that she knows
it's
well.
a go-to phrase for them. I don't know what happened. I don't know, but she knows exactly what happened because she's freaking out.
Polly says she knows very well what happened. She was coherent. She just doesn't want to feel like a trash bag because she kissed me with her tongue.
Polly calling it like it is, and he's kind of just sitting back the whole the episode. There's not that much Polly in this episode, and I feel like he almost kind of tried to take a back seat to everything that was going on. At least it was edited to look that way, because the main focus is kind of on the drama going on with Jenny and Tommy and that whole thing. The drama going on with Angelina, which this show is essentially named for. Good Riddance. That's in reference to Angelina, which we'll get into
not to
in
be
a
a
little
spoiler
bit.
if you haven't seen the episode yet. But
Once again, faced with another member of the house trying to figure out if they're going to leave or not. Only for this one, a decision is actually made. Kind of forced decision. Not something I don't think she really wanted to do. But we'll get into that. That's not something we
not
now.
to jump too far ahead.
Situation. He's still pretty jealous. Once we break away from Jenny and Tommy's reunion, we're still kind of in the midst of that little love triangle between Sammy, Ronnie, and Situation. And
well, the Jenny-Tommy reunion hasn't happened quite yet, so you're getting
am
a
I
little
jumping
bit
the gun?
ahead.
I'm jumping the gun.
You're jumping a little bit.
Okay, all right.
So
Just guide us through.
So what actually happens after that whole discussion about what happened last night in the kitchen is it jumps to Mike, Sam, and Ron, who are working a shift together at Shore Store, which is super awkward because of what has just happened in episode 2, which is Sam decided to change her mind, and she's going with Ron now. Mike is not happy about it. We got the whole remembering montage in the last episode.
Yeah, that's right. The sunset. Yeah, that's right.
So pretty much the whole shift that they're working that day, Mike is still trying to mac on Sam.
Yeah,
just accept your defeat, man.
He can't accept.
But
that.
I think the reason he can't accept it though, dude, is because he's doing it out of spite. And he even makes a little comment like, I'm gonna see if I can make this still happen a little bit, and I'm gonna let her get close to me, and then just flick it away as soon as it gets close.
I read that as Mike really does like Sammy, and he's just so hurt that she didn't pick him. And I think that's that like Mike front of just like saying like, oh, I'm just going to play the game or whatever, when really deep inside, he's really hurt by what happened.
I'm sure that's a part of it, but geez, he came off very revengeful in that moment.
Yeah, spiteful. Yeah, I guess that would be a good way to put it.
Yeah. And so him and Sam at some point end up going out to the front of the shop, and they're just talking. And Sam says, well, I've experienced you already. Which is
well, like, what does that even mean? That is something that, like, kids, like, this is a young people's problem. These are young people's problems, and she says stuff like that that's just like, no, you haven't. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I think
it's only been a couple of hours.
She's just trying to get under his skin
little
with comments like that. So it cuts back to at the house, and
speaking of, hold on, before we get Mike is wearing a set of pants in this episode. The biggest shorts I've ever seen on a person.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Super tight black tank top and just the biggest, baggiest little diaper pants that he's wearing. It's
hilarious.
so funny. It makes him look like a little boy. It's really, really funny.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, it was the first thing that I noticed.
Well, back at the house for a little comedic relief with all this drama between Mike, Sam, Ron, Snooki is sitting on the couch eating pickles.
Loves them. Snooker's pickles.
And wearing a training to be a porn star trucker hat.
Oh my God, is that really what the hat said? I didn't even notice that.
And of course, all the guys are, making fun of her. She's eating pickles. And she's like, well, I have a certain way that I like to eat them. I won't even say what the line is after that.
Yeah. I'm not a big pickle guy. I don't like pickles.
You know what? I don't mind a good pickle as long as it's like a kosher dill.
Mm-hmm.
I like the seasoning in that.
If I wouldn't mind maybe like a spicy pickle, like something that's nice, that has a
little bite,
snap.
Yeah.
I want a nice texture in a pickle, but I don't eat pickles often, except on a burger.
Oh yeah.
I love a pickle on a burger. can't have it without it.
They kind of get annoying to me on a sandwich of any kind because, like, you bite into it and sometimes you can't always bite all the way through. So, like, you'll pull back and the rest of the pickle comes out.
You get a wet pickle on your lip. Yeah, that's no good.
I'm not a fan.
That's good. The other, it's like a Chick-fil-A, a pickle on a Chick-fil-A sandwich.
Right.
But if you wait too long, it's like that weird soggy.
Yeah.
Which is kind of weird.
No good.
Yeah. But pickles straight up, our little sister loves pickles, and maybe that's why I don't like them, because she got so much joy out of eating pickles.
The smell, though, too, like on your fingers, if you don't wash your hands right after you eat a pickle, it's just like this gross, salty smell that kind of stays on you.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah, see, I don't have any experience with that. I can't even remember the last time I had a pickle that was whole like that.
Pickle spears.
Yeah, I just don't mess around with them.
Baby pickles.
Baby pickles?
You know, the tiny ones?
No, I don't do those either. Like the ones that come on like a charcuterie board or something like that?
Yeah, I forget what they're called. They're called something.
Baby pickles.
There's a name for them.
I wonder what it is.
Google it.
Oh, yeah, let's see.
As you hold your phone.
Yeah, let's see. Baby pickle name.
Gherkins.
Gherkin. Is it a gherkin?
Yeah, I think so.
Really? Because
this came to me.
Oh, this is
Am I right?
Well, I don't know. I don't know how to pronounce this. Cornichons? Have you ever heard of that before?
No, I haven't.
They're nubby and bumpy, tart and crunchy.
Nubby and bumpy.
The French call them cornichons.
Kind of like a lot of the cast, honestly.
Yeah, they're sold under the same name, but
Nubby.
but in English they're called gherkins. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Gherkins is the name of the little pickles. The more you know, folks. The more you know. You're gonna get a couple of things about Jersey Shore, and now you know what little baby pickles are called.
You're getting some nuggets here.
You're getting some gherkins.
You're getting some gherkin nuggets.
There you go.
All right, before we get too off track here.
Yeah. At some point, Ronnie makes a comment where he's done. We're gonna talk about Ronnie and Sam's little conversation that they have about where they're going on. Where are you going next?
Yeah. So it cuts back over to the shop, and I did take a note here that Ron's idea of romantical talk is I don't shit where I sleep, and he's telling this to Sam in the context of I wouldn't be like spending all this time on you because really that's not what I came here for. It wasn't my intention. So just so you know.
Yeah. I don't shit where I eat,
sleep, or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. He's a classy guy. Classy guy.
You sure know how to sweep a girl off.
I'm not wasting my time on a girl is a line that a 22-year-old would say. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You've got nothing but time, my dude.
Right. So at that point, they finish the shift. Ron and Sam and Mike all walk back to the house, and it just gives a lot of footage of Ron and Sam hand in hand and being all cuddly, and Mike's just like walking several feet ahead of them. In the
back, all sad. There's a couple of instances in this episode where you can just see how disappointed Mike is that he's not in that position. It's really sad and really funny at the same time. Just a couple little glimpses in the back if you're watching. You can see him get real small at certain points.
Once they get home, the Ron and Jenny alliance / like friendship is kind of revealed, wherein they're talking about how annoying Mike is being towards Ron and Sam and that whole new relationship. And Ron just kind of expressing to Jenny how annoyed he is with how obsessed Mike seems to be over his new relationship, and why can't he just leave us alone and let us do what we need to do, and why is he trying to like come at her so hard still, and they're kind of having that whole conversation together.
I feel like I would go to Jenny with my problems had I been in the house at that point.
Which is really sweet. Like, I love the friendship that they kind of build, and I think they kind of remain friends for like close friends, like for a lot of this series. I mean, they do have some speed bumps along the way.
Right. It's like a little brother, big sister kind of a relationship.
Yeah.
Which I feel like a lot of the people who aren't poly have with Jenny in that regard. Yeah. I feel like they go to her a lot to like just unload.
Well, she's kind of like the mom of the house.
Exactly. Yeah. She's like the matriarch. Yeah.
Right.
On that note, just a little side thing. Mike has several little moments too where he talks like is talking to some of the people in the house, asking like, "Are you okay?" Whenever kind of drama kind of comes up, which felt super super genuine. Like he was actually like, because I think Mike is a softie in real life. I think he's just been playing the part of a douche for as long as he has been, and so that kind of default is his default setting. But really, Mike is he genuinely kind of cares about everyone.
I don't like him, so I have a hard time giving him that much of the benefit of the doubt.
Okay, that's fair. That's
I
fair.
don't know.
He's a tough cookie. He's a tough cookie to get your head around.
Yeah.
That's fair.
He's a tough bite.
Yeah. He's a situation.
He's a situation cookie. So yeah, I thought that was a really sweet moment that they had. You know, they end up kind of joking around, and Jenny's like, well, whatever you do, don't have Mike come my way. You know, if you're going to push him away from you, don't make him come over to me. I also picked up on, and I don't know if you saw this, there was a little bit of a continuity thing here. Where as they're in the room and they're having this conversation, there's a vase of roses that's sitting on the dresser.
Oh.
But that is a vase of roses that Tom actually gives to her later. Mm-hmm. So I think continuity-wise, we're to understand that Tom has not arrived yet, even though I believe in actual real life, he probably was already there.
He's probably downstairs or something like that.
Right.
See, that's where you get into the reality show bit of this, where it's like, what's really happening? What's being just presented to us as the actual kind of situation. So you got to kind of read between the lines just a little bit to figure out what's actually going on.
And that's not even that big of a deal. It was just something I happened to notice.
That's interesting.
Wait, where did she get that huge vase of roses from?
I've never noticed that before.
Because then in the next scene, we're going to talk about this right now. What we're to understand is later, Jenny is waiting on Tom to arrive.
Outside.
She's
nervous.
Sitting. She's worried about telling him what happened with Polly. He gets there and he gets out of the car and gives her the flowers, which is like, ooh. Awkward.
The last thing that Jenny needed to see when she first saw him was flowers coming out of that back of that car.
Oh, man.
Gutted.
I cringed.
When she saw that. Yeah, because this really does eat her up. Pretty much the whole episode.
It should.
Yeah, definitely should.
If you're a decent person.
You're absolutely right.
It should. Cuts to Polly giving his thoughts on Tom, you know. I think he's kind of a sucker if you ask me.
Because Polly's jealous too about this whole thing.
Totally. And then it also pans over to Ange, who is having a couple of friends over, Alana and Elena. Like did they make that up? Are these fake names? Alana and Elena.
I like to think Angelina gave them those names. Those aren't their names are like Brenda and Martha.
You.
Yeah, but I'm going to call you this and you're that.
Because it's easy for me to remember. Yeah. Alana, Elena.
One starts with an A and the other one starts with a what? I don't know, an E? We'll just do that.
A-E-I-O-U.
It doesn't matter.
So Mike is hanging out with the girls and he's wearing this ugly red checked sweater in summer?
Yeah,
question mark?
I saw this V-neck like cashmere looking.
It's like an
golfer,
Express sweater.
Old ass man sweater
in summer.
Yeah, just out of nowhere. That must be his because you lounge around your place in like a hoodie.
Yeah,
but a checkered V-neck.
It's like a dressy
sweater. It's like a dressy
sweater that you would find like at Express. It's that kind of style of like gray and red checked. And
I noticed that as soon as I saw it, and I'm fairly confident in saying we never see that sweater ever again.
Ever again?
No,
that's it. It was just that one.
I'm hoping that the girls made so much fun of him that he just ended up throwing it away.
Cut to Anne just back on the phone again with her boyfriend who hates being on the phone with her. He's already annoyed with her again, and she's trying to convince him to come out to the club tonight. He's like, I don't know, quit calling me. I'm pretty sure he says,
I don't want to
leave me alone.
Yeah.
Like, fine, I'll come. Like, he finally gets so annoyed, just like, be quiet. Okay, fine, I'll come.
Yeah.
And so Saturday night, this is the night. It's a big night for them. The getting ready montage. Everyone's all like, getting hyped, getting ready to go out. Vinny wants a classy night, quote unquote, and the purple tie. What do you think about that?
I thought it was horrible. Purple ties are a tough one. In that they're tough to pull off no matter who you are.
It's unfortunate, but they really should only be worn at weddings if you're a groomsman.
Yeah.
And even then you're pushing it.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever owned a purple tie, and I've been in a lot of weddings before. Yeah, that's a tough one because he pairs it up a classic combo that you see when you see a purple tie is a white shirt and a gray
gray
vest.
vest.
Yeah. It's just like hand in hand. You just kind of got to expect that that's going to be the outfit with the light wash jeans.
I mean, you would have thought he was going to Easter Sunday service or something.
He was
with
getting
that
real
get
dressed
up.
up, but the thing is that he said he wanted a classy night at the same club that they always go to.
Headliners.
Oh, did they go to Headline? Because I thought they were at Karma again.
No, it was Headliners.
Headline.
that
So
night.
that much. What is that? The classy club on the strip.
No, it's. I don't think so.
He must have just been in a mood that day. You know, he just needed to be a little more dapper.
Is any club on the strip there, quote unquote, classy?
No,
Okay.
no, it's not.
Don't ask me that again.
Yeah, no, yeah, that was stupid of me to assume that there was a classy club. Yeah,
Angelina's boyfriend eventually shows up, and as soon as he arrives and goes in to see her, he immediately says, I have a bad feeling about this.
Yeah.
And seconds later, they're broken up.
broken up. Just like that. The thing is that we don't really know what led up to that
Right.
moment.
They
so
don't give us any context of what led up to that, other than she has been calling him incessantly.
which that's probably enough.
I mean,
It's
yeah.
probably enough to just call it quits. I wonder what he thought was going to happen.
I don't know, like, what to make him say, I have a bad feeling about this.
Yeah, why go? He obviously didn't
He
want to go,
yeah,
but he
clearly
goes anyway. And
goes
then
anyway.
literally like 20 minutes later, they're
broken up. He's walking out. Angelina's all upset. She's chasing him out. And then we eventually learn from one of her girlfriends, Alana Elena, one of them, that he's actually married and going through a divorce, which was huge. That was one of the details. And my next note here was like, I just had forgotten how much of this happened in this episode. I never remembered that she was dating someone who was married, going through a divorce.
Yeah, he looks quite a bit older
He does.
than she is too. Yeah, that was kind of the big, I guess, bombshell of the episode, is finding out that Angelina's dating a bit and so broken up over the whole situation, when just like the girls say, she should not be wasting her time on this whole kind of
Yeah.
situation. Like, what did she think was going to happen?
Exactly.
Kind of a thing.
So she gets all bent out of shape over that. She ends up leaving the club, leaving her friends behind, by the way, her friends who are there to see her.
Alana Elena, because that's just how Angelina rolls. You know, it's all about Angelina.
She ends up running back home and just spending some time on her own. The friends end up catching up later. And so cut to a little bit later, everyone's done at the club and back at the house. And it cuts to Tom and Jenny in the guest room, and they're laying in bed. They're just chatting or whatever. And it looks like he senses that she's been up to no good.
Oh, yeah,
because
does.
he says, not prompted, he says, if you do anything with another guy, like, I'd be out.
He 100% sensed that there was something going on. And you can even kind of tell, because Jenny's pretty, like, you can tell that she's
being
struggling
weird.
with something. Yeah.
She's acting awkward.
And then that whole game of, well, you've got a girl who loves you, like, even if it's like a mistake, like, we can kind
Yeah.
of work this out. And she's really just trying to, like, almost like ease him into, like,
Yeah.
being, hey, I messed up.
Yeah.
Right? She's just like kind of gradually introducing him into that whatever happened,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
He probably knew something was up. You just kind of get that.
Which is
sense,
just the whole
right?
thing is just another cringe-worthy, like, ooh.
Ooh!
I feel bad witnessing this right now, but, like, I can't not look.
Yeah, it's so great. It's like a car wreck.
Yeah.
You know,
just
you're
can't
just
look
you
away.
got a rubberneck, you know?
Yeah.
You're not going to not look to see what happened.
Oh, you're one of those, huh?
Absolutely.
Oh, God.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to see how bad it was. I want to see who was at fault. And if I can offer any advice, I'm going to pull over. I'm just kidding.
This
I
is
would
not
never.
a visual medium, but if you could see how far my jaw just dropped open at that comment.
She was pretty shocked. I do not pull over and
For a second, I gotta
offer
say,
assistance.
I believed you.
But I am gonna see this, you know, severity of the damage. You know,
Okay.
it's just not something that you see every day.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
It's just something nice to break up the day.
Cut to the next day. And Tom is heading out. He's leaving. Jenny's upset. She decides ultimately not to tell him about the whole Polly situation. She wants to kind of get her wits about her and figure out what the best approach is
Yeah.
for coming to terms with what has happened and how she inevitably knows that it's probably going to be the relationship ending.
That is one of those things where, as an outside observer, I'm just like, just tell the truth,
Yeah,
Jenny. It's obviously it's eating you up. Just like man up, tell the truth.
Just
It
say
is what it is.
Just rip it off like a Band-Aid.
But I know that if you're in that situation, the last thing that you're going to do is tell the truth.
Self-preservation all the way.
Self-preservation.
As they're sitting there on the top step, did you notice how tangled and matted her hair was?
Yes, I did notice
Stevie's
that.
eyes got so big just now.
I did notice that. A mess of hair in the back there.
And that's where I go back to, like, is it the extensions? That's like she's sleeping on these extensions, and so they're just getting all twisted.
I was asking, is this girl showering like ever? Again, I don't know how girl hair works.
Yeah.
But I feel like you have to do a whole lot of nothing to get to that
and
stage.
Admittedly, like, I don't know how girl hair works with extensions because I've never used extensions, so I don't know. It goes back to, does she have the sew-in kind? Does she have the clip-out kind?
She's got the clip-out kinds. I think
are you supposed to be
the cheaper
taking
one, right?
these things out so that they don't get tangled like that? Because she ain't doing it.
It's a mess.
It
is a mess.
That was all I could focus on in that scene.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Mike is inside making burnt pancakes.
I thought they were hamburgers at first.
They might as well have been.
Yeah, I thought they were hamburgers at first.
75% of the stack was black, man, and they still ate it. Like, no one said anything about it.
When you're hungover, you got to eat.
That's true. You
and
need
if
those carbs.
Mike's dishing out breakfast, you're gonna eat what Mike's serving up.
So this day, Vinny and Ange are supposed to go to work together, but she decides not to go, and she also decides not to say anything to anyone about not going.
She also decides to pretend to be sick.
Yes, so
last minute.
She's moping around the house. She's coughing, fake coughing.
Cough comes out of nowhere.
She's hungover. Like, that's what's happening.
She's hungover and she's upset that she broke up with her boyfriend.
Still upset over the whole married boyfriend thing.
Fair.
From the night before.
Fair, but
you still have to show up to work.
You gotta show up to work.
Just a little side note here. We do see a lot more of the Shore Store staff in this episode than the series as a whole, I feel like.
Yeah.
But in this season, I feel like we also do get a lot of the Shore Store staff interactions in the rest of the whole series.
Yeah, for the rest of the series, it's more of just an interface with Danny.
Yeah.
Whenever they are at the Shore Store.
So the only reason that comes up is because when Vinny gets to work on this day, he's the one who has to break the news to the manager on duty, whose name is Samson, that Ange has decided not to show up. And he's like, well, that's too bad for you because we're going to be short-staffed and we got a lot of work to do. So
And Vinny has the best attitude towards that. He's like, let's go. We'll do it. We're here to work.
Like,
kind of
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So back at home, Ange still pretending to be sick. She's fake coughing. She eventually decides to walk to work to say that she's sick, and that's why she couldn't show up. She ends up arguing with manager Samson.
Nice.
Arguing why she couldn't come in.
Yeah.
Even though she's there now.
She was like, are you getting it? You're not getting it. And the guy's like, well, I'm getting it.
Oh, I'm definitely picking up what you're dropping down.
But you don't understand.
You don't understand what it's like when you're sick.
I'm sick.
He's like, but you couldn't have called me an hour ago to let me know that? She's like,
Yeah.
well, I didn't have the number for the store. You don't have the number for your own work? She's like, no, you don't get it. You just don't get it.
She's, that's that fight or flight instinct kicking in and
self-preservation.
Yeah, she's fighting.
Deny that you've done anything wrong at all.
It almost appears as though Angelina isn't challenged very much. And maybe that's because she has such an abrasive personality that most people in her life are just like, you know what? Fine. Just you're going to do whatever you're going to do. So just
do it your way, whatever.
Now that she's a fish out of water outside of that little ecosystem that she's in, everyone challenges everything that she says, which I think is why she has such a hard time with the rest of the gang.
And no one's going to put up with it either.
Yeah.
Everyone is over it by this point. She has opened her mouth way too many times and said way too many dumb things for anyone to want to deal with her. Yeah,
at some point in the episode, Mike is saying, she's just a drama queen. You know, she's just out there looking for trouble. She's always in everyone's business. And I wrote a note down when he started saying that. I was like, takes one to know one. Mike is popping off on this because that's what he does as well, which I thought was really funny.
Well, yeah. So at this point, she decides that she's quote-unquote done. So she heads back to the house. It looks to me like she's already starting to pack up her things. She's sitting there in the upstairs room talking to Sam and Ron about God knows what. Danny, the boss, bikes over.
Yeah, on the shittiest
confront
bike that
her.
you've ever seen on TV. It doesn't have any grips on the handlebars. It is rusted to all hell.
It looks like he just needed to like get there quickly. He took the first thing he
he's like,
saw.
yeah.
It's not his. Like he just picked it up
Yeah,
from probably the garbage can.
Just
or
kind of
something.
throws it up against the wall and storms into the house.
Yeah, he storms into the house. He's pissed, like rightly so. He should be.
Yeah.
She orders him pretty much to talk to her in the bathroom, which is just like
Wild. As soon as someone shouts up that Danny wants to see her, she gets this look on her face.
Deer in the headlights.
You can see the processing going on. It's like, what do I need to do?
How do I get out of this?
I need to run.
Yeah.
I need to go
hide,
away.
hide.
Into the bathroom she goes. The crazy thing to me is like if I was in that situation, I wouldn't tell such a blatant lie, right? Because she's sitting on the floor fine with Ronnie and Sam, and then just her whole tact just like changes like that. I couldn't put up with that.
She knows that she's caught. That's the thing. Like at this point, you have to assume that the manager at the store has already told Danny what he's seen and what she's claimed. You know?
Yeah.
So
maybe she was bracing for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a total fight or flight because she runs in there into the bathroom to hide. She refuses to talk to Danny, the boss. They have this whole back and forth that is so cringy, and it's just like so incredibly disrespectful.
So it is very disrespectful.
She eventually just stops talking altogether.
It's like a child. It's like
he's asking her question after question, and she will not respond. It's quiet silence, and it's just like he's like, okay, well, I'm done with this. Like you're out. If you don't come to work, you don't get to stay here. That's how it goes.
He handles the situation pretty well. He's obviously pretty upset. At one point, he's like, "You're gonna disrespect me after I let you stay in my house?"
Yeah,
like he
he catches himself.
He doesn't say it, which I was like, okay, Danny, that I appreciate that you're being the adult in this situation because Danny's just good guy Danny. Danny's like the best landlord you could ever want.
Yeah. I forgot to look up who the artist is of the music that's playing in the background of this scene, but we both looked at each other whenever it was playing. The lyrics are, "Who do you think that you are?"
Dun, 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 dun. Does this nice little
and
tag.
that's how the scene ends with Angelina basically getting kicked out.
Yeah. Whoever composed, picked the music for this episode nailed it.
So I remember whenever Jersey Shore was actually airing on MTV, it wouldn't happen on the streaming reruns of it, but on MTV, they probably still show you on a crawler on the bottom of the screen who the artist is, what the song name is, what the album name is, because it's MTV, right? So I always loved that, and I wish we could have gotten that to see who that song was by.
It's just a lot of that one guy. Who was that one guy who like sang all these songs? Who was super? He had the big afro. That party guy. Do you remember his name? It was like a couple of
LMFAO.
That's the way. That who it is?
So that's who does the theme song of the show.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah.
I don't like that guy. Never liked that guy.
I think
don't
it's
like his
actually
music.
two guys. I think they're brothers.
Really?
It's two guys.
I wonder what they're up to these days.
We should look it up. No idea.
I'm fine.
Yeah, I think I'm good too.
I don't need to know.
At this point, Angelina somehow obtains a suitcase because she's like trucking all her stuff down back to the car. She does still have the garbage bag. Don't get me wrong. Like she brought that garbage bag in. She's taking it back out again.
Yeah.
But she somehow managed to get herself a suitcase this time.
Big ass suitcase.
No
Big
idea
ass purple
where
suitcase.
that came from.
Comes out of nowhere. I've got that same note. When I saw that, I was like, well, hey, look. Angelina got a suitcase. Maybe her,
but still has the trash bag with it. So
maybe her boyfriend brought it to her. Or she found it.
I highly doubt that.
That's true.
I highly doubt it. She probably bought it on the boardwalk, so she wouldn't have to get hazed again over it.
Or found it just on the street or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At this point, she's announcing her departure to all the rest of the roommates, which is just like, what? Why? How? Like
she wants them. I think someone even says it at one point.
Yeah.
She wants
Polly says it. Polly's like, she wants us to like
ask
coddle
her to stay.
Yeah, and get her to stay, and like none of us want her to stay.
No one's
so
gonna
we're not
do
gonna
it.
do that. Just leave.
Yeah, she's doing that like background, like okay, like
she's like teasing everyone. She starts getting under Mike's skin again as like kind of like parting shots. Like
yeah, she's like, Mike, you have a gray hair.
Everyone starts laughing because it's so awkward, and Mike gets pissed.
Yeah, I wrote.
And they start getting into it again. It's just like, oh,
Yeah, I
just
wrote that.
leave.
Just jab. So we made it 3 episodes in. We get the first person who leaves. Angelina's just not able to hack it out. And to me, I got the sense that everyone was pretty relieved that she was gone.
It was a huge burden, I think, lifted off of everyone because now it's just like, okay, we don't have to deal with her. She brings a lot of unnecessary drama into the house. Which is ironic because this whole house is situated for drama.
Yeah.
They just don't like her brand of drama, let's just say.
You know, she's abrasive. She's hard to be around.
Is.
She's got that kind of face that you love to hate. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She knows how to push the buttons, and so yeah, it really is good riddance whenever she's out.
In any case, her last thing that she says is that it has nothing to do with my boyfriend. And it's just like, everything to do with your boyfriend. That's why you're leaving. Like, so that's her parting words, and that's the last we see of her.
That's the last we see of her for season 1. I don't think she comes back for the rest of the season.
Not the rest of the season, but we will see her again in season 2.
That's right. So good riddance for now.
Good riddance.
Angelina will make a return, and to be fair, she gets better with age. Angelina does. You know, she's still not great, but she's more tolerable as the seasons go on. That's my opinion. She gets a little easier as time goes on. Again, not great, but better. Better than this first little introduction to Angelina.
That is certainly a hot take. I can't wait to get into season 2.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Maybe my opinion will change. I might be looking through everything through rose-colored glasses.
Rose-colored shot glasses?
Very good. Very good.
Mike's parting words about Angelina is that she was a half-ass firecracker. It just fizzles out real quick and makes a loud noise. Yeah. That's what Angelina was.
It's a great summary.
It's a great description, but like I don't think that actually means what he wants it to mean. If it's a half-ass firecracker, why would it still make a loud noise? Wouldn't it make a half-ass noise?
Mike says things that just come into his mind.
Initially, I was like, oh, that's actually like a really good observation.
It's like the Jerry Springer comment. Like, what does it mean when you think about it? It's one of those sayings that you get.
When he says, I'm going to Jerry Springer her ass. Yeah. Just like, I think I get where you're going.
You get the essence of what he's trying to say, but just don't think about it too much because it's not going to make sense.
No, it will never make sense. And that's okay. So at this point, Jenny decides to finally go ahead and reveal to Tom what happened with Polly, and she calls him. She's like, okay, I'm just going to come out with this because it's not going to be good. Finally tells him, I think I may have done something with someone at the club or whatever. He ends up hanging up on her straight away, and that's pretty much that.
I thought it was interesting that the way that she ended up being able to tell him about that was on the phone.
She needed the distance.
Yeah. She found her approach, certainly. Obviously not the best way to do it, but in lieu of the self-preservation kind of thing, that was probably the best way to do that for her at the time.
Anyways.
Doesn't go well.
Yeah, he hangs up on her right away. No telling if she did try to call him back or if she kind of just was like, okay, he needs his time and space to think about this. Anyway, she ends up saying, I'll give it 24 hours, and if I don't hear from him, I'm rocking out. And that's a bad thing. Me single? That's bad.
Yeah, she makes comments like, time for my true self to come out.
She's ready to be a single lady at this point.
Yeah, that's not... She's just struggling.
Yeah.
And she's hurt by the whole thing, and so she puts out those kind of vibes and kind of stuff like that, but I kind of took that as her just kind of blowing smoke. I didn't really buy it.
She also seems to believe that up to this point in time, she has been what could be described as a Catholic nun or Susie Homemaker. She thinks that that's how she's been acting, and let me tell you this, inaccurate.
Yeah, we're only 2 episodes in, and...
What nun have you seen?
Yeah, the last thing
I
would
thread like her
ever describe Jenny as is a nun.
Last thing.
Yeah. Unless it was that one nun from that horrible Three Stooges reboot, whenever Kate Upton played the nun.
Yeah.
Do you remember
Halloween costume version.
That's it.
That's what it is.
That's the one.
Sexy Halloween nun.
Sexy nun. Ooh. That sounds... I don't know.
Ooh. Okay, you're revealing a little too much about yourself. We might have to cut this part out.
Yeah, we'll probably
Quit thinking about
we'll probably
it.
cut this out.
No, don't shrug your shoulders like that.
So, Mike.
Moving on.
Yeah, moving on.
Cut to Snooki and Ryder, who shows up inexplicably. Ryder shows up out of nowhere.
First intro to Ryder.
First intro to Ryder, even though we did see her in the very first episode whenever they're introducing themselves to everyone. Ryder does show up in that footage very briefly.
Okay.
As Snooki's best friend.
Ryder, I hardly know her.
Nice. So Snooki and Ryder are out on the boardwalk. They're bar hopping. They end up back at the house to go get in the hot tub, and Mike decides to invite himself to join and cannot wait to get his shirt off for them.
Yeah.
At which point, Ryder sees him, like, squeals and then, like, runs to go hide.
Yeah.
Mike was like, yeah, I have that effect on people. Like, ooh, he just cannot keep his shirt on.
I mean, look, you work for a long time for a body like that. You want to show it off, and that's kind of the only thing he has going for him.
That's
you know
true.
what I mean?
That's
It's
true.
the one tool that he has in his tool belt that's easily accessible.
Meanwhile, this evening, Sam and Ron are kind of figuring out what they want to do with their evening. They're kind of looking to go on maybe a little bit of a date night. She ends up inviting Mike, awkwardly, to go mini golfing with her and Ron.
Yeah, I thought that was so
Why?
weird. I don't know.
Question mark?
I don't know.
Like,
It's almost like Sammy does not want
to
her.
let that little piece go.
Yeah, she doesn't want herself to be happy.
She likes the attention, I think, that she's getting from both of these guys fighting over her.
Yeah, I guess maybe. I don't know. You
But
might have.
it also cuts to her saying, you know, I don't want anyone to feel like we're alienating ourselves. Like, if you want to come hang out with us, come and hang out. Like, we're not going on a romantic couples only date or something like that.
Which is
But
exactly
it's
what
Mike,
they were going on.
It's Mike, though, out of everyone you would invite.
Yeah, she doesn't. At least we don't see her invite anyone else.
Right.
She only invites Mike.
We're led to believe she only invites Mike along with them.
She just lives in that little tension. That's where she kind of like thrives, I guess. I don't know, because that issue is something that keeps on coming up in that whenever things are good for Ron and Sammy, disaster is not far off.
Right. So as they're kind of, you know, going over the plans for the night, Sam and Mike are, you know, chatting alone in this room. He's lounging on the bed, still shirtless, of course. I think it's like his way of like, see me, you know, like maybe I can hypnotize her.
Totally.
into changing her
It's
mind
like
or something.
like a cobra.
Yeah, see me. And then ends up lying and saying that Snooki asked him to get in the hot tub with them. He's like, I don't know. They want me to go and hang out and get in the hot tub with them. I don't know if I will or not. They're whatever. Sam's like, are you going to do it? He's like, I don't know.
I don't know. What do you think I should do it?
He invited himself.
They're just
seconds ago.
jabbing.
So Ron and Sam end up going on their date, and then they go home to hide away in the guest room, and that's kind of the last that we really see of them for the rest of the night, because they end up cuddling all night, staying up talking, quote unquote. Sam in her talking head says, sorry, Mom. So are we to believe that they did do something?
Oh, sure, for sure.
Some bases were maybe rounded.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe not all the way home, but
Oh, I'm thinking all the way
you
home.
think?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Just the way that
I've already seen the next episode, so I know what's coming, which is why it's making me question that they have gone all the way at this point.
Okay, all right. So you might have a little
But
bit
she
in top.
does say sorry, Moms, and I doubt that they were just cuddling. You know, I think it was a little bit more than that.
Maybe that was an I'm sorry that you have to even see this portion of my life.
Right,
you know,
right.
no parent should have to see that.
No.
So
No.
maybe, and not only is it her mom that's going to see it, but it's everybody
Of the
who's
whole world.
watching the show.
The whole
is
world.
gonna see
Everyone
it.
she's ever known and will not know.
Yeah. This is the very beginning of Ronnie and Sam isolating themselves from the rest of the group,
Yep.
which they end up getting called out on. I don't know which season it is in, but this is the very beginning of them being their own kind of thing.
Yep, they're their own little unit, and that's just, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
So meanwhile, that's going on, cut to the hot tub, and it cuts to this very creepy scene of Vinny, Polly, Mike, Ryder, Snooks, and some other random girl
Yeah.
in the hot tub.
Not mentioned, not given a
She
name.
comes in and out. And again, it's a continuity thing, but like I don't remember ever seeing her in the house elsewhere. Like she just shows up in the hot tub with them.
She's just always lurking in the corner.
Did you notice her?
I did see her.
Okay, good.
I did see her, but it was such a passing thing that I was like, who was that? And then the next scene was on, and I was like, completely forgot about her.
Yeah, exactly. So she doesn't have any lines or speaking role or anything
Nothing
like that.
memorable.
She is literally just sitting there in the hot tub, drinking a beer or smoking a cigarette or something.
Who is she? Where did she come from?
I'm sure she's a friend of Ryder's
she must
or something.
be Snooki or something like that. Yeah,
and she just wasn't bringing it enough for the camera, so they cut a lot of her out.
She's someone to someone, but nothing to us.
Correct. That's a good way to put it. So Snooks ends up face planning on Ryder at this point. Who knows how long they've been drinking or whatever. Anyway, she goes on to say, guys like that whenever girls make out. It's this really sloppy, gross girl-on-girl make-out sesh between her and Ryder. Mm-hmm. I can't look. I have to look away. It's so cringy.
I noticed that you ended up getting up late because we watched this episode together, and when that scene came up, yeah, you were...
It's hard to watch.
You disappeared. You disappeared for a little bit.
I can't watch it.
Okay.
In this hot tub of like Guido stew that's happening.
It came out of... It was weird. It came out of nowhere, and what I was thinking was like, this is not the first time that's happened.
No.
And what is this relationship?
Just purely by the comment because guys like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even sure she's doing it for herself.
I didn't get the impression that she was.
That's one thing. Like, fine, you want to do that for your own pleasure? Like, go right ahead. But it sounds like she's doing it more as a performance thing, which is sad. I mean, that's kind of sad.
That's what's sad. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, kind of.
She wants the approval of these guys so much that she'll do whatever she believes that they like.
Yeah, completely.
And
agree.
Of course, they're hooting and hollering and
encouraging it or whatever. But yeah, you don't get the sense that it's something. Yeah, whatever. That's a whole weird kind of a thing.
She then ends up forcing Mike to make out with her too, and I could not discern if he was into it or if he was just going along to maybe in hopes that maybe he would be into it eventually.
I think he was doing it in the hopes that information will get back to Sammy.
Oh,
that's how I kind of took, because Mike's a player, right? So it's all strategy, because you're absolutely right. He did not look like he was into it at all.
Not at all, man. It was awkward all around.
But you got to play the game. And the game is getting back at Sammy.
Dang. Okay, well, that's tough. That's a tough strategy to have to put yourself through.
If
I don't know, you're a guy. If some girl who you really don't like find attractive, you don't have that kind of feeling for her, if she just like decided to start making out with you, is that doing it for you? Because again, she's only doing it because of what she thinks guys like. What Mike would like.
No, because
an aggressive type of woman or something.
Snooki made comments about being attracted to Mike early on in the first couple of episodes.
But it does not go the other way.
That's true. It doesn't go the other way.
So you as a guy, like, is that doing it for you?
You know, enough alcohol. And
you'll make out with anything?
I don't know, man. You know, like those days are well and truly behind me. Whatever happened in the past happened in the past. You know what I mean?
Okay.
No one's perfect. All right. You know.
No, I don't know.
Well, then we don't have to discuss it. I don't think
I'm asking you.
I don't know. You know, with enough, who doesn't like a kiss? Do you know what I mean?
I guess.
This is just one of those things. Enough alcohol and everything's appealing.
Sure. Anyways, by this point,
Let me stop right there. I'm not that kind of guy. I want that to be clear.
PSA. Beep, beep,
yeah.
Beep, 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 beep.
Yeah. We're making a lot of assumptions here about things, and I don't live that kind of a life. I'm not that kind of a guy. And I just want to put that out there now.
Okay. Thank you.
Capiche?
PSA over. Beep, 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 beep,
Thank
beep,
you
beep,
for
beep,
tuning
beep.
in. I'm just saying, you're asking the wrong guy. Okay? You're asking the wrong
Then
guy.
what are we even doing here?
Okay, well, I don't know. What are we doing here? Why are we talking about this show that hasn't been relevant for like 10 years? Why are we doing any of this?
We'll get into that later. But for now, we're on the next day.
Next day.
Next day in the house, Mike is cooking for Sunday dinner, and he asks Polly to go help get the grill started. Asks him to like get it to go light or whatever. Now I have to say, I don't know a lot about grills, but I do know that there's different types of like methods to cook on a grill.
Yeah.
Propane being one and charcoal being another. And they're two different things, and you don't mix those two different things.
No, you
like,
don't.
I'm not a grill person, but even I know that.
Yeah. I don't know if I almost couldn't even look at that whole thing whenever they
I know
started.
you like physically had a reaction.
I was very upset
as you were watching Polly try to light this grill, seeing the propane tank underneath, but him sticking the lighter in through the grill slats
to
on
light
the charcoal.
to light the charcoal. Yeah. Just you just don't do it. You don't do that.
Eventually, of course, flames are like bursting out. They're coming out of all sides of this little flimsy grill. Like,
right,
it was a plastic
ass,
grill.
yeah.
So this grill is literally melting in front of their eyes. Polly has to grab the fire extinguisher. Luckily, that was there.
Thank God.
Thank God. This is probably why.
Yeah, that's
that
exactly
it's there.
why. Yeah, it's exactly why.
And they still end up cooking on the melted grill.
It's probably a plasticky kind of a sausage and pepper situation that they got kind of going on.
It's a special seasoning.
Sausages on a grill is an interesting choice because they're not, look, how you do with charcoal, you burn your charcoal, right? You let it all burn down, and then you're just using that residual heat to cook whatever you're kind of cooking there. To me, it looked like they just went for it, just stuck their whatever's on there, and you cook sausages on a grill with an open flame like that, you're gonna have a burnt sausage, you're gonna have a dry sausage, or you're gonna have a sausage that is not cooked all the way through.
Right.
Not my preferred method of grilling a sausage, but you know, Mike's in charge of the food, so they're gonna eat whatever he's dishing out.
Truly.
That was a hard scene that was probably the hardest scene to watch of the whole episode.
You actually had a physical reaction to that. Like, you jumped a little bit when you realized what was happening.
Yeah, horrible. And they were like, put it out before we blow up. Like, it's gonna be this.
Mike was concerned.
Mike
you could
was
see the
freaking out.
concern on his face. He's like, we were like this close away to blowing up this house.
We were all gonna die.
I don't know if that's true or not. Like, could that actually happen?
It would take quite a bit of heat. It was a fairly small flame for that. It makes,
there was flames coming out of all sides of that thing.
Possibility is there, but they would have needed a lot more time than they had for it to come to that.
Anyways, later that night at the club, they're at Karma at this point.
Karma
is like it's like a dual level space, if I'm not mistaken.
That's what it looks like.
Jenny is acting like a single gal
She's
this
getting
night. I don't know what happened to her 24-hour like time that she was gonna wait.
It was more like an hour.
Yeah.
24 minutes.
24 minutes, yeah, exactly. She is a single gal. She is dancing with everyone, especially Polly.
Having
She's giving
fun.
him special attention.
Vibing.
Ron and Sam are off together. To your point, like, this is kind of the episode where it's kind of just known. Ron and Sam are always going to be off together doing their own thing.
Right.
Vinny ends up pulling Ron onto the dance floor because Ron's got his creepy patent moves that he just like has to go ahead and demonstrate for everyone.
If you had to describe what this dance looks like, what would you say about it?
Jiggly like Jello is what I wrote down.
It's a
He's so jiggly.
It's such a there's so much going on.
There's a lot going on. Like, this is really going to be one that you just have to see yourself.
It's worth popping onto YouTube and looking up Ron's dance moves.
Jersey Shore dance moves.
He's creeping on that floor hard.
So hard.
He even says, "Is like, I don't know where this came from." He's like, it just like flows through me.
I don't know where I learned to do this. Like, man, I don't know if you have to learn how to do that. For a big guy, like, he actually moves
quick. Yeah, he's fast.
very fast. And I noticed also in this scene that he's wearing a Monarchy brand shirt, which I had never heard of that brand, but it's probably similar to like Affliction, Ed Hardy, all those other
Buckle,
brands. I just
whatever.
thought that was worthy of noting.
Yeah. All those shirts look the same, and
They all look
horrible.
the same, right?
They're
right.
all horrible. V-neck, was it a V-neck?
I think maybe it was.
Man, I used to wear V-necks
It had a
so
lot
much.
of designs on it.
Yeah, I used to wear V-necks all the time.
It might have been a button down.
It wasn't a button down.
Oh, it wasn't?
No, it was a t-shirt.
It had a lot of detail, like on the back of it.
It wasn't a
almost like you could see a little bit of rhinestone detail.
Oh, most certainly there's rhinestones on that. That wasn't a button down because Vinny was the only one who was buttoned down that night.
Who like dressed up for that night?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So Vinny and him, so they're all popping off on the dance floor there. What ends up happening after that?
So what ends up happening is it gets convoluted a little bit because Sam ends up claiming to see him dancing with another girl. Mind you, all the guys are dancing with kind of everyone on the dance floor at this point. She immediately gets jealous. In that same moment, though, she is also talking to who she claims to be someone she knows, a friend, the cop, as he's known.
Yeah.
Jenny catches this exchange happening because as Sam is noticing Ron supposedly dancing with another girl, she decides, oh, okay, you're going to play me out like that? Then I'm going to get this guy's number and do the exact same thing to you. Jenny happens to witness this exchange.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately runs to Ron and says, you need to check your girlfriend because she just gave someone else her number. And that lights a whole fire.
Dick move on Jenny's part. Was that something was she in the right? Was that her? What'd you think about that?
It's hard because I guess there's some level of what they would call a girl code.
Mm-hmm.
Should you first talk to Sam and say, hey, what was that about? Like, you put me in a weird position because it looked like you were giving your number to another guy, but I also know that Ron really likes you. So, like, I'm in a weird position to now where I feel like I have to tell him, but I won't as long as you can tell me, like, whatever was happening was nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that would be like the girl code way of handling it. Jenny's alliance, though, at this point is to Ron because they have the better relationship. So Jenny really is in between a rock and a hard place because she wants to look out for her friend Ron.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting because they are technically still getting to know each other at this point. I mean, they really don't know each other well enough to know, like, is this how Sammy actually is in real life? Is she like a girl player, you know? Like, I don't know. But my alliance is to Ron. So I'm going to
go to Ron.
Right.
Yeah. The guy code
hard.
The guy code in that situation would be like, I didn't see anything.
Oh, interesting.
Don't know what you're talking about. What's happening over there? I don't know. Okay, I cannot see over there, so I don't know what's going on.
In the interest of not wanting to start drama, yeah, it was a dick move.
Yeah.
But that's not what this show is about.
No, I mean, I welcome it. I'm glad that she went off and told him because then we get the first Ronnie-Sam fight. Basically,
the first Ronnie Sam fight,
one of many,
one of pretty much the rest of their whole time together.
Yeah, and it's immediate. There's no talking between the two of them. Ronnie just storms right on out.
Immediately, as soon as Ronnie hears that information, he's done. He's out. He's like storming and rampaging home.
Yeah, slams the door. There's this great scene where he just kind of falls face first into his bed.
Literally just falls into bed.
So
shirtless.
Upset.
He had to take his shirt off. He's so pissed.
He's so upset that this has happened to him. It's really kind of sad. But it's more funny than anything.
In the midst of all of this happening, as Jenny is talking to Ron at the club before anyone has left yet, there's this really gross cut away where Mike is making out with some random girl in the background, and it's so gross.
Really? I didn't see that.
It wasn't meant to be the highlight of whatever footage they were showing, but you caught it if you were looking.
I was not looking at all.
So like we mentioned, Ron is storming off. He's pissed. He's fuming. Jenny, trying to be the good friend that she is, decides to go ahead and leave the club and follows him home. Then another little dumpster fire occurs whenever what looked like it was Snooki ends up telling Sam that Jenny has left with Ron.
Right, which isn't what happened.
It wasn't the case. But Sam is asking everyone, hey, where did Ron go? Where did he go? Where did he go? Snooki's like, oh, I think he left with Jenny. And immediately that starts a whole other plot line.
Yeah,
of drama.
so now there's like these two arguments that they're, or three arguments that they're going to be having once they get back to the house.
So there's a whole lot of these little dumpster fires that are starting to be lit.
Which is really funny because as soon as Angelina leaves, someone makes a comment. It's like, fine, it's like going to be no more drama, and we're just going to be able to enjoy the rest of the summer. And I'm literally not like 2, 3, 4 hours later, it's like, we've got three
new
things going
fires happening. Sam is quoted as saying, "I didn't even know what was going through my head when I left the club. I was going to knock a bitch up." And it's like, I don't think that means what you want it to mean, but I understand what
I'm
you're
going to get someone pregnant. Me, Sammy.
Out here on the streets.
On the streets. Oh, yeah. So good.
And then the episode pretty much ends with her, walking home and the preview for the next episode. And I have to say, side note, when we watched it the second time, they have a lot of shots of Sam walking, but it's just her legs walking in her heels. And I have to say, she's got some pretty good legs.
Yeah.
Like she's a very athletically built girl.
Yeah.
Because I want to say that she was a soccer player in high school.
Oh, really?
Which makes sense why her legs are a little more muscular looking.
Mm-hmm.
I had read something at some point that she was like a really good soccer player.
That honestly, I could totally see that.
Yeah,
for sure.
It makes sense why she has such good legs.
She does have good legs.
So, anyways, that's the end of episode 3. Good riddance.
Good riddance. That's the episode. We get big highlights. Angelina's gone. We see some more fake sickness, which is probably not going to be the last time that we see some fake sickness going on.
Some, lost memories. I don't remember what happened last night.
Jenny and Tommy are not a thing right now.
Currently, yeah.
And we've got Ronnie and Sam with their very first argument as they try to figure out whatever the hell that relationship ends up being, which I think we can both agree is just nothing but toxic. It's a very toxic relationship.
Very toxic and codependent relationship.
So we're coming to a head here. That's the end of episode 3. It's really starting to pop off here. I think as we start progressing, the stakes start getting higher and higher. The drama starts getting more and more. And we're going to start to see some really, really cool, iconic moments from Jersey Shore coming up in the next couple of episodes.
Yeah, we're building up to a head here. There's definitely the peak that we're climbing up to at this point. Like I said, this was a really good transitional episode. It propelled a lot of these storylines and the characters themselves along the way they exactly needed to be propelled along. So I really appreciated that about this particular episode.
This is episode 3 out of 11, so 11 episodes in this first season, which, just as a side note, I think is a good number for TV.
Yeah.
8 to 10 episodes, 12 episodes, kind of what you want to be. Just enough. It's not overbearing, to where you're just going to get annoyed by it, so I'm probably going to cut that bit out because I don't know where I was going with that.
But it's good to know like where in the lineup we are of things, because you don't really know, are we getting halfway mark?
Okay.
Like we're still kind of like a quarter of the way through, but that's why it's such a good episode, because it's now taking us to that halfway point.
It's starting to
where
become
everything is going to blow up.
Starting to become Jersey Shore, the Jersey Shore that everyone knows about.
Yeah, this mountain only keeps going up at this point. I mean, there's a big crash, I feel, at the end, but we're not going to really hit that peak for a while.
Right.
This thing is going to keep building and building. So.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really good. We're excited to get into this next episode. More stuff to talk about, more roasting of characters. That's going to wrap it up for this episode, sis. What else you got going on? Anything we need to be on the lookout for?
Nah.
I will be doing some stand-up comedy. I'm just kidding.
I was about to be like, oh, okay, that's new. But I'm on board. I support you in anything you want to do, broski.
I'm not doing stand-up comedy, but we will see you next week for episode 4 of Jersey Shore. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you on the next one.
This is Macaroni Rascals, a Jersey Shore podcast.
Bye.
Bye.